maybe I'll have to do that. Okay, cool. So there you go. So we should be streaming live on Facebook and YouTube now. Thanks to everyone for joining me. I'm your host, Ben Sullins, and this is the Teslanomics Live, which is a news recap of the biggest Tesla news from the previous week. I have lots of fun stuff to show you here. I have a bit of a different setup, so bear with me. And if you're watching this live on YouTube after the fact, I'm sorry, if you're not watching it live. If you're watching it on YouTube after the fact, this will be a bit longer. And what I'll do is I'll put a pinned comment in there with timestamps of every different story that I cover. That way, you know, you don't have to watch the whole thing through, and you can kind of jump to those specific points. And then, oh, hey, thanks, Trevor, for checking on that for me. And if you are here, make sure to ask or vote on a question. It's on the bottom left on my screen. I'm assuming that's where it is in yours. There's a little thing there that says ask a question. And so if you haven't looked at those already, go have a stab at them. Upvote any ones you like, or ask some, or even reply with comments on any of those other ones. So do that. And in fact, the first question, now I'm going to Q&A is at the end, but the first question asked about a quick poll. So that's going to let me actually do something else cool, which is to create a poll now. So I'm going to create one asking you, are you getting all-wheel drive on your Model 3? So I'll put yes, no, and I'll click add, boom. So you should now be able to answer the poll. Look at that, you guys are already going. So again, this is part of the cool features here, is that you guys are able to interact and able to ask a poll there and all that. So we can really have some fun with these, much closer, much tighter than we did before, which is very just kind of one way. And as anyone that knows me, I'm not somebody that's short on words. So the one way did work, but I just like this better because it's just much more of a two-way thing. All right, so what I do, of course, is I cover the week's biggest Tesla news. And before I get into that, I want to talk about the referral program. This is insane. We are now, I don't know if it can focus, maybe, camera work. We are now up to 60%. See if that can focus. 60% of the way towards a free Roadster. Yeah, I don't even know what to think about that, but that it's awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough. So really, this is some cool stuff here. Not just, you know, whatever benefit this brings to me, but the whole idea that you guys are, you know, getting $1,000 off plus free supercharging just by using this code, and you're sharing it with other folks. So everyone, thank you everyone that's done that so far. We have in this program alone, which only started I think 2 months ago, delivered 16 Teslas have been delivered through this. 19 have been ordered. So yeah, we're selling a lot of Teslas here, which is great because it's helping us move towards that, you know, form of sustainable transportation and energy. So if you are new here, you can get my referral code at teslanomics.co/TD, where I'll ask you some funny questions and then I'll send you the code, and then you can get $1,000 off free supercharging. So there's that. Enough plugging of that. Next, the thing I want to talk about that I am so excited, and thank you to everyone that's already been giving me great feedback, is TeslaCon. And so TeslaCon is an event where myself and the other Tesla tubers are all coming together to bring you thoughts and ideas, discussion all around Tesla and the EV community and the EV world. And the idea is just to help, you know, accelerate this transition together. And so I've never seen anyone else do this. Of course, there have been in-person events, but this one is online, so you can join from anywhere in the world. I'm going to show you the page here that I set up. And let's see if that'll work. Again, this is a new system, so bear with me. Apparently, I need to install the extension, so there's that. Give me 1 second while I... Okay, I think I'm back. Hopefully you guys are hearing me. The screen share extension, and I'm gonna just share this one. Hopefully this works for you guys, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I see, which is the TeslaCon homepage here. So I'm gonna go ahead and join from another computer just to make sure that you guys can see this. But I'll talk about this. So I did a video on it. You can watch that, and a lot of you probably have. So, thank you for everyone that's done that. The thing here that's kind of cool is that with this, we're all able to join, and it's going to be something where hosts can host from anywhere in the world. So check that out. It's at TeslaCon.online. Just go register with your email there, and all that's going to do is get you on our list. So as more details come out, you can then get updates about that. So I do have a couple speakers lined up already. Of course, we have Trevor Page from the Model 3 Owners Club, who is joining us here in the chat. And we also have Jesse and Zach from Now You Know. I'm sure you guys both subscribe and love both of these channels. But if you haven't heard of either of them, please go do that now. You can find both of them on YouTube. Trevor with Model 3 Owners Club and Jesse and Zach with Now You Know. Both great friends of mine, and we just really enjoy hanging out and making content together. So I'm excited that they're going to be joining us here and sharing some great insights and stuff at TeslaCon. I do have one keynote speaker that has confirmed. You guys are going to be so crazy excited about it once we work out the details. We're just trying to finalize the schedule right now. So that's my only plug right now for TeslaCon, is just to go get on the email list if you aren't already. And if you're on my email list, you should have got something this morning with a notification. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, I would love for Elon to come. Still trying to figure that out, but yeah, we'll see. Not 100% sure that that's going to be in his schedule, but we'll try. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm going to run through these. Now, the way it works is I have my long and my short. And first, I just want to talk about the flood of new Model 3 videos that are, crowding the internet. And here's one that I thought was pretty interesting. I just saw it today. Yeah, actually, it was just published earlier today. And this was, I think, originally posted on Jalopnik. And what it is it's the UI for the Model 3 is being shown here. And I'll have links to all of these on my site and on the YouTube video afterwards, after this posts. But check this out if you guys haven't seen it. They do a really good walkthrough here of the UI. So you can see exactly how, this is essentially the delivery of a Model 3. And he's, showing them how everything works. And I was excited about this because this to me is one of the coolest features of the Model 3. And yeah, so if you haven't seen this, go check that out. Really nothing majorly groundbreaking here, other than this is just an up close and personal look at it. There are a few things that are interesting about how it works, but probably a lot of you guys have already seen those before. One of the key things, of course, is the, everyone loves to talk about the vent and how that works. But, the main thing is that everything in the car is controlled through this interface. So this is really cool. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Next, I want to talk about this detailed video that we saw from, is it OC Detailing? I think it is. Yeah, OC Detailing, and which I kind of love that name, by the way. They have a really cool first look, and this one goes all around the exterior of the car, the interior of the car. He didn't open the frunk in the video, which is something, but I and others have footage of that already. So this is a customer's car, and this is up in Fremont, California. And, it's just a great video walking through. I'm sure if you guys are, a nut and follow all this stuff like I do, you've already seen it. But if not, go check this out. Again, I'll have the link. Oh, I'm sorry, not a customer's car, an employee's car. But anyways, it's a customer of OC Detailing, I believe is what I was told. But anyways, there you go. This is a great video if you really want to get an up close and personal look at the Model 3. Here he is showing off the key card. This is something I'm still not actually a fan of, but we can talk more about that later. All right, and then the next video, or I don't know if it's not really a video of the Model 3, but something that I was interested in, is here it's showing the app and how you can use your smartphone to unlock the car. And I like this as long as my phone doesn't die, which is kind of where I'm a little bit mixed on this whole thing. Now, I know a lot of people love the idea of the key card. And yeah, I think it's cool of an advancement, but I just hate having stuff in my wallet. So anyways, so there's some shots of the app and what you can do with it. I'm sure there's going to be more of these coming out as more folks get their Model 3s. And I still haven't heard any update, by the way. I'm hoping to get mine. It said October to December. Yeah, October is almost here, so that's probably out unless it's late October. I'm guessing I'll be sometime mid-November, but obviously, as soon as I get mine, I will let you guys know. Okay, so next up, we have on the stories for today, Tesla's Supercharger station in Shanghai. And this is my long. And so if you recall, the long is the thing I'm for, that I'm excited about. The short is the thing I'm against. So this is a Supercharger station in Shanghai, and it is going to be the world's largest Supercharger station. And it is expected to have somewhere between 40 to 60 Supercharger stalls when complete. The reason I'm long on this is that it represents Tesla's commitment to a global expansion of their network. Not that I'm going to take my car and go drive in Shanghai or anything like that, but Tesla as a company is continuing to push the bounds outside of the United States, where a lot of regulations and things like that are, we have this in the US anyways, this obsession with the coal industry and holding on to the past. And so it's good to see that Tesla is being progressive and pushing well beyond any constraints we may impose here in the US. And this one is also, to me, an indication that we may have a new plant in China. And so that's part of my long as well. There is a new policy change coming up that Tesla may be able to build a plant in China without having any local suppliers or any local partners. You see, China is still a communist country, and so the way, if I understand it correctly, in order to operate there, you must have a local partner, which typically is owned by the government in some percentage, I think probably the majority, in order to operate. So essentially, by doing business in China, you're also going to be paying the Chinese government one way or the other. So now they're looking at something that would allow companies to make things there without that. And there's an interesting note here that it said foreign companies would still be subject to the 25% import tariff, but they could build electric vehicles without a Chinese partner. So it seems like a big win. I'm a little confused, though. You probably would make sense to have a Chinese partner instead of doing it 100% yourself, because I understood the reason to do that primarily was to avoid that import tax. And so, it was back in June, I believe. This article here from Bloomberg talks about, Tesla looking to figure out a plan for China production, and a big part of the reason would be to avoid the 25% import tariff. So yeah, there's that. So things are a little bit confused right now, I would say, in terms of whether or not this new regulation may help them. But the big picture is Tesla appears to be investing heavily and pushing into China, which, if you're unaware, is the largest EV market in the world. And China is doing a lot of things and making a lot of regulations and statements trying to push us towards a more sustainable form of transportation and energy. So I'm really long on the China EV market, and I'm encouraged that Tesla is getting in there with the expansion of the Supercharger network, as well as potentially opening a plant there. So all good things here that really make me excited about the company as well as the overall market. Now, the other part of this, of course, is my short. Here's the thing that I'm not a big fan of. And this is really confusing to me. So people have asked this before, and I'll make sure that you guys can see this big enough. Let me see if I can do like theater mode. Okay, there you go. So this company, what's it called? DigiNow, has a Tesla destination charger adapter for this guy. But let me just show you this video and kind of explain what's happening here. So they have essentially an adapter so non-Teslas can use Tesla chargers. And people have asked about this before, whether or not Tesla would open it up to other EVs and whether or not that's a good business model, etc. I'm short on this. I mean, I do like the idea of the network being open, or at the very least, the Supercharger network being open to others. But what these guys are doing, I'm sure they're smart. And I mean, obviously, they've made something here that works, technically works. But I'm a little concerned about safety for, is this thing going to catch fire? Is it going to cause any other kind of problem? And then what is it going to do to the car itself? I'm not sure if the cars are able to handle this. Now, I'm sure if somebody from this company is watching this and wants to make a comment on it, then yeah, please let me know. But there it is. My short is that these guys are kind of bypassing this. And this isn't like a digital thing where, there's kind of maybe not a lot of, danger physically. This is a physical thing that could cause serious problems. So, yeah. I'm a little concerned about that in terms of safety and all those things. But I do think that it would make sense if Tesla looked to open up certain aspects to help grow the EV community. But then again, maybe they want to kind of use that as an advantage point just for them. So in addition, there was a cool video that came out about this Tesla drag race. I don't know if you guys saw this. Let me pull it up on YouTube instead of Mashable so you can see. Yeah, there you go. So what this is a Motor Trend video, and yeah, it's the world's greatest drag race. And they pit all these cars together, and let me just fast forward a little bit here. They're at an Air Force base, and they have literally just tons of supercars. Let me see if I can get to the actual kind of, there you go. So they're listing all of them, and these guys are all, 2017 Ferrari. Look at these things. They're ridiculous, right? And guess what? Guess who wins? The P100D, of course. Here you go. I think this is the shot, the little montage where they have it. So if you haven't seen this, I thought it was kind of fun. And yeah, obviously it's a major production. I don't think anyone was surprised by this. This is a quarter mile, and it's really just hard to beat a quarter mile. There was a quote that the guy, the host of the show, had that I thought was interesting. He said, "The heaviest car, the Tesla P100D, wins it all, once again demonstrating the inherent advantages of electric motors when it comes to acceleration." So I think this is cool. It's not really in my wheelhouse, so you're not going to see me do a drag race video or anything. But if you haven't seen this, go check it out. And again, it's just amazing to show. Things like this, I think, are going to really get kind of the gearheads behind it and start to actually push this forward. So there you have it. So that's my kind of this week in cool. Now, there's some other developments that I thought would be worth mentioning. Mercedes is looking to spend $1 billion on electric cars. I'll just read you a couple bits here. News broke last Thursday that Daimler, Mercedes' parent company, was investing $1 billion in its Alabama plant to start building an electric SUV in 2020. So good for you in Alabama that work there. That's awesome. And then Elon replied saying, that's not a lot of money for a giant like Daimler Mercedes. Wish they do more. Off by a zero. So yeah, Elon is kind of trolling him, but again, I think he's actually fairly correct. I don't think that that's a huge amount of money, but I am excited that Mercedes is getting into the game if they take it seriously. And then so here's Elon kind of trolling them a little bit. I think it's great. Again, all this stuff just means that we're pushing ahead further to accelerate that transition, which is really, really one of the big things that I'm looking forward to. Next, we have a couple interesting stories. There's an all-electric bus that traveled 1,100 miles on a single charge. What is going on? U.S.-based electric bus manufacturer Proterra upgraded its 40-foot Catalyst E2, now called Catalyst E2 Max, with a 660 kilowatt-hour battery pack and brought it to the track at the Navistar Proving Grounds in New Carlisle, Indiana, to test it. So with a giant battery like that, they were able to do some amazing stuff, and it traveled 1,101.2 miles before the battery pack was depleted. I love this because this gets closer to my dream of the electric RV going 1,000 miles on a charge. So let's make it happen. Franz, if you're watching, please join me and let's make this happen in a semi soon. Last, I have an update here from some stuff happening in India. I know I got a lot of comments and questions about this. This is interesting. The National Institution for Transforming India plans to present a comprehensive EV plan to the cabinet in India within 4 weeks. And this is reported by Bloomberg. Now, they have this ambitious target to sell only electric cars by 2030, although the subsidies are kind of still up in the air. So there's a lot of automakers vying for this, and there's a lot of big suppliers that could potentially benefit. I just thought this was exciting because obviously India is a huge market, and this could be a big boon for the EV market globally. And so, yeah, if that goes through, I'm real excited. Although, again, you know, back to my whole point before about Tesla in India, it seems a little bit of a miss, considering, you know, there's all kinds of other things going on, other ways that we could be spending our time to help make India better. So there you go. That is my news recap for the week. I'm going to jump back over and stop sharing my screen. So you don't get that infinity view. There you are. Now you're back full screen with me. Hello, hello. Now, I saw, it looks like, okay, so MKBHD is going live at the same time. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm sure he's doing well for himself, but he doesn't have you. And he doesn't have this awesome way that we can do this Q&A section. So now I'm going to switch over to that. It looks like we've maxed out our broadcast at 150 people, so that's cool. Thank you all for joining me. Now I'm going to switch over and I'm going to start looking at the questions here. So the first one, I would like to see a quick poll on how many Model 3 reservation holders plan on purchasing Autopilot at the time of purchase. This is from Mike S. I'm on the fence right now. I feel like if I don't do it at the time of purchase, I just might not want to spend the dollars later. And even though I put my deposit down on the first day, I'm in Toronto, Canada, and won't see my Model 3 until most of the options, like the 4-wheel drive, is available. Maybe 4-wheel drive would be better. So I'm going to try this new feature out and see if I can invite a friend onto the screen with me to help answer this. One, he is a Model 3 expert. Two, he is in Canada. Oops, let me see if I can get him up here. So let's see if we can invite Trevor from Model 3 Owners Club onto the screen. I'm not sure how this will work, but maybe we can give it a try. So Trevor, if you're there and listening, I just clicked invite. So, oh, error message. Wah, wah. Let me try again. Maybe it has something to do with that. If not, there we go, trying it again. This is a cool feature. Okay, accepted and connecting. Again, thanks for bearing with me. This is a whole new thing that we're trying to do with this live broadcast. And there we have it. Hey, there he is.
How's it going, buddy?
I don't think I can hear you, though. Hold on a second.
Hold on.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now, and I hear an echo. Is that me?
I don't know.
Good, good. I'm
better?
not sure. I can hear an echo of myself. I'm not sure if that's on yours. Okay, cool. Everyone else can hear you.
Let's try it.
So we're good. So it's just must be me. All right, Trevor.
There we go.
Oh.
Is this better? Any better?
I can hear you, and everyone, it sounds like they can hear you. So
Okay, good.
why don't I just stop talking
Let's go,
and
folks.
say, what do you think about this first question? And give Mike here some advice, and then I'll pull up the poll and give you the poll results. Go for it.
Oh boy. You know, that's the biggest question on everybody's mind these days is, you know, when am I going to get my Model 3? My personal opinion right now is, I have headphones, folks. I have in-ears. I'm a musician. I like the good stuff. Sorry. I think what we're looking at here is Tesla seems to be focusing more on U.S. deliveries right now because they have this ticking time bomb of the federal tax credit. So right now, if you're Canadian, you look at your reservation, it shows, you know, unilaterally it says late 2018. So that tells me, and especially anyone in the U.S. can look at the reservation, especially the first, and it's giving you a range window at this point. So to me, that just indicates right now that we're looking at 2018. So based on Tesla's information of putting, you know, all-wheel drive into production sometime in the spring, it won't be an issue as far as getting those options. I also want to make a point here too, because, you know, some of these videos that are starting to come out, you know, from these deliveries of the Model 3, I have 2 and upcoming 3 members on the forum right now who actually taken delivery of their Model 3. This is not general public. These are still going to Tesla employees and Tesla employee family members. So some of the information is still kind of out there and stuff. We're getting little drips and drabs. So having said that, you have to be very careful here because these are initial production cars that have very, very few options on that. So I'm seeing a lot of activity on the internet where people are saying, oh my God, it doesn't have this, and oh my God, it doesn't have that feature. And you have to remember, folks, and I want to make a big point about this, when the Model S first came out, it didn't have all-wheel drive, and it didn't have folding mirrors, and it didn't have autopilot. When the Model X came out, everybody was expecting a second row folding bench seat. That took over a year and a half for that to show up. So even though you're seeing a Model 3 coming out, and if you see features that are missing or that something that you want, you have to give Tesla time to put these things into production. You know, the previous 2 cars were not fully baked when they first came out, and it's the same thing with the Model 3. So patience is going to be on your side, or I should say, some of these features will be on your side if you're going to be patient about the car. So if you're not looking to be the first guy on the block with the car, you will be rewarded with more features as things go. So again, just to go back a little bit for this particular owner, I mean, you know, if you're willing to wait and you can wait and maybe you don't have a choice to wait, you'll have a lot more options at your disposal when the time comes for you to configure the car. The other thing too, as we all know with Tesla, is you better be prepared to be happy with what you buy, because in 3 months' time, when they add another feature, you're going to be upset. So you better get that in your mind, that you better be happy with what you get, because things are always changing at Tesla. They don't do model years. They always put new features into production. So I hope that helps.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man. And it looks like the majority of people, 61% said that they are not going to get it. But yeah, it looks like still a good chunk of them will. Let me ask Trevor, in terms of the cold weather stuff, is all-wheel drive required to, you know, drive in the snow? I've heard mixed things, and I'm definitely not in a position to talk about it. So let me know, what do you think about that?
The answer would be no. It's not a good replacement for good snow tires. However, if you're in a situation where you need a little extra traction, if there's a lot of snow, then all-wheel drive can certainly help you with that. You know, the people who've driven the cars know under hard acceleration and steering that the all-wheel drive really does help with handling of the car. So if you can afford it, get it. If you don't, put a good set of snow tires on. There's lots of people in Norway and Canada who have Model S's with just rear-wheel drive, and they're perfectly fine in the snow.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much. Yeah, I'll mention that to people when they ask me, and I'll say, hey, if you have more questions, go ask Trevor, because again, something I'm not clear on. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining me, man. Let me see if there's any other quick questions here that we could get your insight on. Actually, so there is your answer, Mike. And so I'll say done answering to that one. Next one. Any idea what the extra perk is for the first day Model 3 reservation holders that Elon mentioned earlier this year? I'll hit start answering, so we'll bookmark this. I don't really have a clue if there's been anything. My guess was free supercharging. Trevor, any thoughts?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Free jacket. You know, the easiest thing that we thought initially would have been some kind of special color. You know, not necessarily signature red, because that was really a thing for Model S and Model X. Obviously, we can't do any badging because they're not doing any badging on the car. So my personal opinion is, if it actually does happen, just be glad that maybe they give you a jacket or trinket or something like that. Just be happy you're getting your Model 3. You're not going to get a free house out of the deal. Maybe some extra kilowatt hours for, you know, on the yearly supercharging. That's always welcome. But don't expect the world at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. The reason I was thinking of supercharging is because people rarely use it. And even if they used it a ton, the cost is still relatively low. So that might be something like, if I were at Tesla thinking about what can we do that's really cool, but also doesn't, like, you know, kill the budget and profitability, you know, that's where I was thinking. That's where my head was.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to call that one done. Thanks for the question, Don. Now we have a question from Mel Bernstein. I like to drive with a split screen, nav on top and back camera on bottom. Well, lost it. Is there a way to save this? So Mel, let me click start answering. Mel, I don't think there is a way to save that. I'm not sure. In mine, no, I don't know a way to do that. Yeah, that could be something in the future, but currently I think the answer is no. Thanks for the question. Phil Kreider, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Is the Model 3 too high tech for the masses? Will it be too expensive to repair? I don't think it'll be expensive to repair. Is it too high tech? I don't think tech is the thing. That may be a little bit out there. It's more maybe the change that people, from what people are used to today. Trevor, what do you think? Is it too high tech for you?
No. It's a Tesla. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I think the biggest concern for a lot of people, and of course, the noise over the issue now has certainly died down, is this simplified interior with the center screen. When it first came out and Tesla finally confirmed that was going on, it was never a question in my mind because, we just kind of knew that what was happening.
Right.
Everybody was up in arms about it. Now, that noise has died down now. I think the biggest disappointment for us, and even though I was fully prepared for it, was the fact over, the options on the Model 3 are priced very much like a Model S. And we were really hoping to see, options on the Model 3 being priced more with cars in its market segment.
Yeah.
So, up here, you can buy a BMW 3 Series and metallic paint is only $750 as opposed to $1,300. So, an autopilot is the same price as a Model S, and so is the premium package. So all these things are really kind of adding up. So now, I've seen a lot of noise, of course, on the internet and, of course, on our forums where a lot of people are upset at the fact that I can't get a $35,000 car anymore. And that's not true. You can. You just have to set your expectations in such a way that if you don't order any options on the car, it's still going to be a fairly decent car. But autopilot, for example, is a very desirable feature. So, boom, there's another $5,000 you got to plunk down for the car. So, you're starting to get into, that higher territory. So even though the base price of the Model 3 is half the cost of an equivalent on a Model S, as soon as you start tacking on options, you're starting to climb up there. So, I've done a video before where I took not offense, but I took exception to Tesla's wording of using mass market when they talk about Model 3. Model 3 is not a mass market car. It's an entry-level luxury car that's designed to compete against the BMW 3 Series. So they really should be calling it for what it is. Maybe it's mass market to Tesla because they've never made a car of this kind of volume before. I think they need to be a little less disingenuous with the wording on that car. So
it's the accessible luxury, or I forget what they call it.
Entry-level luxury car. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If you're going to go, the people who are looking at that car, for the most part, have been looking at a BMW 3 Series.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's what you need to compare it against.
It's not mass market. When somebody says mass market, I think, Toyota Corolla or Honda Civic, $25,000 car.
Yeah. Now, do you think the Nissan Leaf falls into that category?
Yeah, like I said, if you do the total cost of ownership, because that's an important factor when you're looking at an EV, you can probably make a business case for that. But from an entry, from the entry price point of getting into the vehicle is certainly not mass market. So but it doesn't seem to have tempered much of the enthusiasm for the car. It certainly happens.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks for the question, Phil. Let's see. Steve Midori, anybody have any ideas on how we can find out or physically test how much extra range the standard Model 3 Aero wheels provide? An offhand comment by a Tesla employee is not enough, in my opinion, to count on supposedly gaining 10% more range. If Aeros actually provide little or no range advantage, then popping for the $1,500 and arguably much better looking premium wheels makes more sense. Yeah, I was surprised by that 10% comment as well, because 10% is a lot. It's just hard to believe. I don't know. Trevor, have you seen any official details on that other than that one offhand comment?
I have not, and I would take an engineer's offhand comment as not gospel.
Yeah, right.
Cautious about that.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. As soon as That'd be kind of a fun thing. Like, okay, because I'm gonna getting the Aero wheels as much as I hate them.
You can take them off
because
I don't like them.
yeah, well, but I'm also planning on putting the 21-inch arachnids on there just because I live in Southern California and we do ridiculous things to cars. But anyways,
I will caution you about that because I have measurements on the forum now, and the wheels are not interchangeable.
Okay. Well, we'll see. But anyways, it'd be fun to like drive it till it dies with them and then put, and then take them off and then drive it till it dies and see how it goes. I don't know. So yeah, maybe we'll do a video on that. That'd be kind of a fun thing. So thanks for the question,
Stay
Steve.
tuned.
Yeah. Valerie asks, do we have any update on where they are in the production line? I know they are delivering to employees in Central U.S. already, but they have started opening the configurator to West Coast non-employees. Let me hit the start answering button so we can log this. I've not got my invite. I haven't heard of any other people. Trevor, you would know better than I. Have any non-employees, et cetera, been invited yet?
The only people who have taken delivery, and two of them that I know, are family members or relatives of Tesla employees. They have not opened anything to the public yet. So these two videos that have been floating around are fathers or brothers or something of a Tesla employee who put down 2 reservations and maybe have transferred 1 to a family member. So that's all the information we have at this point.
Okay. Fair enough. We're going to call that one done. Thanks for the question. Valerie asks again, do we know if the camera is motion activated and if it is already able to be activated upon delivery? Is it of any of use to as an extra layer of security against vandalism or theft? I think you're talking about, I assume, the autopilot cameras, but then there's an inside camera as well. Is that right?
Yes.
What's that for? Do we know?
We don't have definitive information. If I was a guessing man, I'm thinking that's for the Tesla ride-sharing network in the future. They're just kind of planning for the future for that. So it's not active. We know that.
Man, that is insane. I guess that makes sense, but how soon do you think the Tesla network will really be here?
Well, it's going to be a while because they still haven't finished. I mean, autopilot as it stands right now, it still hasn't really 100% caught up with autopilot version 1. They're seriously behind the ball on this one. And it's not by any of their choice. I mean, they had this very public divorce with Mobileye. So they had to start over from scratch with new hardware. Yeah. So it wasn't of anything of their fault. So we have to give them some time for that. Then you have the issue of regulation. I mean, it's one thing to have the software ready, but then you have regulations and you have all these different countries to deal with. Now, at least in the US, you have, the recent federal thing that's just come through where they're putting some proposals together. So at least they're thinking for that in advance. So that will probably happen probably the next couple of years. I will say the Model 3 is a pretty good example of Tesla thinking 5 years down the road in terms of designing a vehicle from, at least from the inside, not so much from the outside, but at least from the inside aspect for fully self-driving and a ride-sharing network. This is the first example of that. And I fully expect that kind of technology will migrate up, whichever way you want to look at it, into the rest of the cars.
Yeah, to me it seems, very forward thinking, because forget the tech alone, I think the regulations are at least several years away from actually making this feasible. So
well, you have to remember that it's not like the regulations will just drop on somebody's lap and there you go. It will be an evolving thing because there's going to be edge cases. The first time somebody gets killed or injured in one of these things, there's going to be a lot of media attention on it, and then we'll have to go back and tweak things. So it'll be an evolving thing.
Yep. Thanks for the question, Valerie. Let's see. Jeremy Harris asks, as a Model 3 reservation holder in New Zealand, I'll be getting my car sometime around the beginning of Q2 of 2019. The Supercharger infrastructure in New Zealand is limited, only one currently in the country. Will Model 3 deliveries in countries with few Tesla charger outlets come with plug-in adapters to allow charging from non-Tesla charging sources? Or are there additional items we'll have to factor in from purchasing? So, Jeremy, yes, they should, absolutely, right? Because all the Model S's and everything come with an adapter already to plug into a standard, or kind of the standard one here in the US. I assume the Model 3 wouldn't be any different. And I assume, Trevor, we probably have seen photos of these, right? I've seen pictures of the adapters and stuff in the back. So is this a yes?
The only UMC, which is the Universal Mobile Connector that comes with the car that we've seen so far, is the North American version. which
Okay.
is a replaceable pigtail rather than the little clippy adapter that you have on yours.
Yeah.
So it's a different UMC. I would fully expect them to offer different versions of that little pigtail thing for different countries. I mean, North America is still a bit of a wild west. We've got J1772 and CHAdeMO and CCS, and I mean, it's all over the map. And in Europe, you've got SAE2. I don't know what it is in Australia. I believe it's SAE and New Zealand. I think they both share the same common thing. So, yeah, I would fully expect them to offer adapters.
So we haven't actually seen it yet, but it makes total sense, and I would fully expect that they would offer that. They would come with it. So I'm gonna go with yes. Could be wrong, but that's where I'm going. All right. Kip asks, I'm a Model 3 reservation holder and thinking about the benefits of having a long-range battery coupled with full self-driving. Do you think? Stop that 1 second. Do you think level 4 self-driving will be available by the end of 2018? Will enhanced autopilot cover level 4, or do I need to spend the extra money for full autonomy level 4? Wow. I'm not sure. I know what level 3 is, and I know what level 5 is. Will it be available by the end of 2018? I think we touched on that a little bit, right? I don't even know if it's the tech that'll be holding it back. I think it might be more regulations if you're talking about in the US. But the bottom line question is, should I buy full self-driving now or should I wait? I'm going to go with wait. I don't know, Trevor, what do you think?
I agree. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say no, it will not be ready.
Okay.
I'm an optimist, but in this case, I don't think so. The nice thing about autopilot and the full self-driving, of course, is you can upgrade anytime you wish. It's not a requirement for you to buy the car, unless, of course, you really want to bundle it in to your loan or your lease or whatever the case may be. So you can always upgrade. If you're on the fence of thinking about, well, I only have the money to buy one thing, it's a long-range battery or autopilot, put the money where you can't upgrade, and that's the battery.
Yep, fair enough. Thanks for the question, Kip. All right, let's go with Jim MC. Does anyone know how auto insurance cost for the Model 3 will compare to a comparable ICE car? I've seen some quotes out there. I don't know that if we have an official answer on that. And there's so much variability. I'm seeing around $100, $120 a month, just from what people are reporting. Trevor, any thoughts?
Insurance is one of those things that varies by jurisdiction. I live in an area where the insurance premiums are rather high. Toronto is high accident rate area, a lot of cars, a lot of people, a lot of bad drivers. I've already did a quote on a Model S, for example, and compared to my current car, which is a 2015 Lincoln, and it's literally costing me $100 a year more.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's really a non-issue. With the Model 3, on the other hand, being mostly steel in the body construction, which was different from what I was expecting. So I'm going to say I was corrected on that. I was expecting full aluminum on the car, but it is what it is. I think from a repairability aspect, it will certainly be better being mostly steel than aluminum, because as you know, with aluminum, you have to go to specialized shops and stuff. And that's always been, a problem. Of course, if you talk to Model S and X owners who have repair bills on aluminum, it's rather high. So it's nice to see that they're taking a different aspect on this. So I don't think insurance rates on the Model 3 are going to be anything astronomical. I think it'll be fairly affordable. Again, look at the target market segment. BMW 3 Series, go look at, get a quote for one of those, and,
hopefully it's
put that on
close.
your
Yeah.
list.
I did have a friend that told me, his quote is extremely low, but he also said it's because he's old. So like, point being, it's subjective, right? Yeah, there you go. Okay. Thanks for the question, Jim.
Gets cheaper as you get older sometimes.
That's right. That's right. That's like the one benefit about getting older, right?
Not getting any younger.
Okay, we have a question here from Maka. I was listening to a program called Living on the Earth on NPR, International Radio, touting the future of EVs. My attention piqued. The father of lithium-ion batteries is addressing all the battery issues with his further research to produce the battery of the future. So, and this is about the advancement from John B. Goodenough. Is that really his name?
Yes,
that is amazing. That's like Tito Beveridge was the guy that invented Tito's vodka. It's like your last name is Beveridge. Come on. Anyways, I think this is awesome. I'm not really going to spend too much time on this because, yes, there are 1,000 articles a day on the latest battery advancement here and there. But until it actually happens and it's commercially viable, I just kind of pass over it. I'm really excited about it, but there's a difference between Tesla implementing something in the cars and you know, the tiny small scale something that somebody did in a lab. So there we go. Yep. All right. Next, I think you have the mock-up posted the link to the thing. I like it. Again, same thing with the batteries, though. Yeah, until we actually see it in a car or something, I'm just chalking it up as, you know, cool, but you know, not super serious. Okay. Next, we have Sachin has a question. I have a question about the sales tax. If I buy the Model 3 with EAP out the door, will that $5,000 be included in the calculation of the sales tax? It's just a software thing. How does it work currently in the Model S and X? I believe it will be included in the sales tax because that's a part of the purchase. So then the question would be, would it be cheaper to buy it after the fact? But you have to pay a penalty. So I guess it would probably be cheaper to buy it with, and I'm going to go with it will be included in the sales tax calculation.
Of course it is. I mean, do you buy software and not pay sales tax on it?
Right, right. And maybe if you live in Oregon or something, I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying.
Do you guys have sales tax up there? I thought, like, you know.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
You got to pay for the healthcare.
That's right. That's right. Maybe that's our problem.
It's not free. Not free,
Yeah.
but believe it or not, contrary to most people believe, it's not free.
Okay, so there you go. So buy it with the purchase and save some money. Let's go from that. All right. Patty asks, what can we do as a group of people to work on a way to get free supercharging for Model 3 vehicles? Can we put a team together who wants to find supercharging partners where partners get 2 free superchargers at their location? Yeah, so okay, so basically how do we build out the supercharger network for the Model 3 community? Well, I think Tesla has a program where you can connect them with businesses that you want to see, not superchargers, but just destination chargers. So I think that's probably the best bet. There's also other startups out there like EV Match and a few others where it's kind of like a peer-to-peer network. Like, for example, you can actually rent my charger at my house on EV Match. You know, and yeah, you have to pay for it, but if you don't have a charger, it's a great option. So
we have a similar program that's just starting up here in Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. So I think actually we're going to see a lot of kind of new companies and innovation in this space about helping people charge because it's a public charging infrastructure doesn't really exist besides the Tesla network. So thanks for the question, Patty. All right, let's go with Rick. Is there any analysis on cabin road noise for the Model 3? Not that I've seen. Trevor, any thoughts? Okay.
Yeah, I do. We have, as I said before early in the stream, we have some members on our forum that have taken delivery of the Model 3, and they are providing us some information. So far, the road noise in the cabin of the Model 3 is excellent. It's a very quiet car, on or equal to, say, an S or an X. So. Yeah, they've done their homework.
That's good because that is something that I know the S got dinged on by Consumer Reports. But I'm kind of mixed on this because I wonder if it's louder because there's no engine, right? It's like, you know, because there's no engine noise, which would muffle any outside noise. Like, I'm not sure how they actually measure this, but yeah.
It's true. I mean, we've become very accustomed to gasoline cars that no matter where you are, there's road noise. But in there is road noise, there's wind noise, there's engine noise. It's all mixed together. Right. So in an EV, when you take one of those things out, the noise level comes down, but then you notice the other two.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, short of putting dynamite on the thing, like on every surface of the interior of the car, you're not going to make it dead silent. So
yeah, right. Cool. All right. Thanks for the question, Rick. Okay, we got a Canada question from Ron Roseland Barnes. I'm in Canada. I made my reservation on April 3rd, 2016. I spoke to several fellow Canadians who have reserved about 4 to 6 weeks after me. My Tesla shows me delivery date of late 2018. All of my friends who reserved well after me show the same late 2018. This seems curious to me. I think we know this, right? We know the answer here, yes. Trevor. So what is it?
Universally outside of the United States, it either shows late 2018 or 2019, depending where you are. Again, going back to what I said right at the start of the stream, Tesla is focusing on U.S. deliveries, at least for probably at least 6 to 9, maybe even up to a year, months or up to a year, because there's this time bomb called the federal tax credit, which is expiring for Tesla. And that's only for the United States. I mean, other countries have their own little thing going on. We have our own rebate system, but it's not tied to taxes or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think Tesla is really trying to do the right thing for the people that really want to be able to get the car and try to afford it as much as possible. So I think that's weighing very heavily on it. They're, even though they don't talk about it, they're very, very acutely aware of the situation. So
do you think that they're going to push out that 200,000th car to early January?
I have no idea. I don't know what the internal numbers are. I mean, we all, there's speculation, there's numbers flying around.
Yeah.
They're getting close.
I think the inside EV guys do the best job. And
yes.
when I took their data, and I spoke with them actually quite a bit about this, when I took their numbers, I did my own calculations using that S-curve, that logarithmic growth. And based on what Tesla has said about their goals and all this, it all to me added up like they could, if they wanted to, hit that number this year, which would be a bad idea. So the question, I mean, it sounds like they will wait, but Tesla themselves don't even publish these numbers. So like you said, it's hard for us to really, and weirdly enough, the IRS doesn't as well. Like if you go to the IRS page, which describes the program, it says like, click here to see where the different manufacturers are. And Tesla's not listed. Ford and a few others are. So I wonder what that's about. I mean,
maybe they asked them not to disclose it. That happens. Yeah,
I guess so, because then those numbers could be used to affect the stock price, which, a percentage swing is, tens of millions of dollars. So
yeah, of course.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. Thanks for the question, Ron. Matt from Michigan asks, is there a button under the lip of the trunk or frunk that can be used when you are close with your activated phone, or will you need to remove your phone from your pocket to use the Tesla app to unlatch your trunk or frunk? So in the front, well, I assume you're talking about the Model 3. I can say about the Model S, there's no button for the frunk. You have to do that from the inside. I don't even know if you can do it from the app. Maybe you can. But the trunk certainly. And I assume the Model 3 is the same. Do you know,
exactly
Trevor?
the same. Yeah, it's exactly the same. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Controls. Yeah, I don't have a frunk or trunk button. I'm just looking at the app right now. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to do that from the app at all. So there you go.
On the Model 3, there's a button to open the front and the trunk on the phone. On the internal screen, and there's an emergency frunk release in the toe cap on the front. That circle that everybody's been asking for months now. What the heck is that thing? It pops off, and there's two wires that come out, and if you apply power to it, pops the trunk open.
Gotcha. Open. One thing that's interesting about that too, that I'm not sure people are aware. So I've had my Model S towed. And the way they do it, on mine, I have an older one with the older fascia, but they all have this. Basically, you pop something off on the front, and then there's this big kind of like eye hole, like bolt that screws on, and then that's what you tow it with. My friend just got his Model S 2 days ago, and he's like, what is this big thing here? I'm like, oh, that's so they can tow it. So, and the reason, of course, is because underneath, there's absolutely no room for this, right? Because that's where the battery goes. So There you go. Makes sense. Cool. Thanks, Matt, for the question. Let's see. So Sid Harth asks, when will free supercharging come back to new Model X and S? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if it will. Of course, you can use a referral code like mine or a lot of other folks to get free supercharging. So if you are going to buy an S or X, there you go. There's that.
You would buy an S or an X without a referral code now. I mean, you get free supercharging.
And $1,000 off. I mean, the irony of this thing is like, of the whole referral program is like, so many other people try to market and sell stuff that is so less valuable than this. It's like, it's no wonder that this is a no-brainer. It's like, hey, but of course the deal is not everyone is going to buy a $100,000 car. So, all right. Matt asks, will you be able to upgrade the Model 3 battery after purchase and have it open up with an over-the-air update? I'm going to go with no. Trevor?
Absolutely not.
2 thumbs down. Sorry, you got to buy the long range up front.
That's right. There's not enough margin in the car to do software locks. Not gonna happen.
And I will say, do it. Do not buy the shorter one unless you were just absolutely looking for the cheapest option, because you're gonna want that extra range. Trust me. As somebody that has a car with barely 200 miles of range, I can attest. Absolutely want that extra range.
Range matters. I have a T-shirt that says that.
Yeah, seriously, that's great. Christian asks, I am severely visually impaired and would like to know whether Tesla in the future takes over the driving license and the responsibility of the driverless takes over. That's a great question. Yeah, I assume, I mean, part of the whole self-driving future is that it's going to enable mobility in new and different ways. So I could definitely see that being a thing. I don't know if, I mean, Tesla's really the right answer here, but I would say self-driving cars in general should help with this tremendously. Any thoughts, Trevor?
Yeah, and that's really what's known as level 5. Level 5 is basically no driver required in the vehicle.
Yeah, right.
You know, totally
Thanks for the question, Christian, and thanks for joining us. All right, getting 2 more questions here. Brian asks, I've heard that California is talking about a new tax rebate of $10,000. Is there any update on this, or is it just talk? Yeah, the update is not good news. There was a bill that had this proposed, and it changed. They basically removed any of the verbiage about a specific amount, but instead it's turned into a study that is going to be done to figure out what the cost would be to level the playing field, essentially. The California government, the local state government, if you're unfamiliar with how, you know, there's a federal government, then each state has their own little government. So ours here wants it to be that electric vehicles, compared to other cars, the price is no longer a thing. They want to take that away. And so they want to pay with it from the cap and trade. And there's all these kind of different things at play. Originally, they had this bill, AB 1184, which was like, yes, go do it. A lot of us in the community got really excited. And then literally days after we all posted videos like, go do this, they completely swapped it and said, oh, well, maybe we should study this before we just, you know, sign off on, you know, $4 billion or whatever in spending. So yes, what you heard is correct, or was correct at one point in time. Other than that, it's just going to be a study now. So that's all I got on that. Last question from Sachin again. Any price details on the maintenance plan that Tesla will offer on the Model 3, and what will it cover? I haven't heard anything different than what the other ones offer. Trevor, do you know any details on that?
We have no details at this point, but I would expect them to start talking about that once public deliveries of the cars begins sort of late October or early November.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember,
cool.
This is employees only right now. So.
Yep. All right. Awesome. And that is all the questions for today. Thank you, everyone. I really enjoy this. I hope you guys did as well. Thank you, Trevor, for joining me. And if you guys aren't aware, Trevor is one of our featured speakers at TeslaCon. So make sure to bug him to tell you more about that on an upcoming video soon. And stay tuned here and on our email list, Teslanomics.co. And I will see you guys next time. Anything else, Trevor, you want to share with these guys? How can they find you or anything like that?
Sure. I'm very active on Twitter. My handle is @Model3Owners. Don't forget, we have the online forum where we're fast approaching 10,000 members. That's Model3ownersclub.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our Tesla, our YouTube channel. And you can find that at Model 3 Owners Club. You just type that into Google to search on.
Awesome.
On
Thanks
YouTube
so much. All right, guys. We will see you here next time. Peace out.